Jim Bowden, you couldn't hide from me when it came to bad trades, and CBS, you can't hide either. Let's go talk about it. Okay, so here we go. CBS is getting in on the fun when it comes to trade proposals for this offseason. I've already done a couple of videos on trade proposals that were reviewed by Jim Bowden of The Athletic. If you have not seen those, go check up here. But some of Jim Bowden's thoughts almost killed me. I'm not going to lie. Jim Bowden, I don't know what the heck you're thinking sometimes, my friend. But let's see if CBS can help me recover from some of Jim Bowden's thoughts and trade ideas. This was written by Mike Axisa. I think I'm pronouncing that right. We got 5 blockbuster trades to go over. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get to it. Here we go. Going to the first one. This is not a new trade proposal by any means. Jose Ramirez to the Blue Jays. He would definitely be a good replacement bat for Marcus Semien. Jose Ramirez, one of the better players in the game. It's going to take some coin to get Jose Ramirez. Why? Well, first off, he's really good, but he's also cheap. He has a very affordable contract, and he's under control for the next couple of seasons. So Jose Ramirez is not going to be cheap whatsoever. But taking a look here, let's see what proposal they have first. Like I said, Jose Ramirez, he'd be a very nice bat in an already good lineup. Taking a look here. Taking a read, they get into it here where they said here, Cleveland has had a tendency to take quantity over quality packages in their recent core player trades for guys like Francisco Lindor, Mike Clevinger. But I wanted to point something out here because they have here where with the Mets, Cleveland insisted on including Carlos Carrasco and the $27 million they owed him in that trade, which lowered the prospect return. Well, that's not true because Carlos Carrasco, he had a positive value of $8.8 million. So no, Carlos Carrasco did not lighten the prospect load. So CBS, you were wrong on that one. But let's actually get to what a possible trade would look like. So taking a look here, they're saying here, the Blue Jays are very deep behind the plate and using either Alejandro Kirk or top prospect Gabriel Moreno to get a guy like Ramirez is a smart way to leverage that catcher depth. Kirk or Moreno, infielder Jordan Groshans, and 2 other lesser prospects gets Cleveland's attention. Well, if we take a look at this, you're already in the ballpark with just Groshans and Moreno. I don't think the Blue Jays would do that. I think it would be really tough to give up a Moreno. This guy, he's going to be a future stud. I mean, this guy has a lot of potential as a future catcher for you. I don't know. I could see, but then again, getting someone like a Jose Ramirez when the Blue Jays, they really, I think, have a talented squad. They have some really good bats in that lineup. They have some really good starting pitching. If only that bullpen can just get a little better. But adding someone like Jose Ramirez, man, I don't know. I don't know if you'd have to give up Groshans in this deal. As you can see here, the Guardians would be getting $81.1 million, while Jose Ramirez is worth $73.7. So these two alone, on paper, gets a deal done. Now, would the Blue Jays want to be giving up these 2 guys? I doubt that, but I would imagine maybe take out Groshans and put in, a couple of lower prospects. And I think that actually gets a deal done. So CBS, because they also suggested here 2 other lesser prospects as well. I don't think you need to give up that much, honestly, unless it really turns into a bidding war. That's one thing with Jose Ramirez. You could definitely see a bidding war, with all these teams trying to get in on it. But I would imagine this trade, I would think the Guardians, there's no way they would turn this down. This would be awesome if you got these 2 prospects for Jose Ramirez, and then you're getting Groshans who can slide in at third base down the road if Nolan Jones doesn't end up being your third baseman. Again, I think if you're including 2 more prospects here, I think that's actually a little too much. It would be tough to give up Moreno, but remember, you have to give up something good to get something good. So I don't know. Let me know, Blue Jays fans in the chat. What would you do? Would you do this trade? Let me know. For me, I wouldn't do this trade if I were the Blue Jays. I would consider Moreno and maybe 2 other lesser prospects. I would want to, I don't know. Groshans, to me, I think he could be a very good player for you in the future. But, well, I don't know. This would be really a tough set of guys to move on from for Jose Ramirez, but it might be worth it. Next up, we have Cattell Marte to the White Sox. I actually think this would be an awesome guy to put into this White Sox lineup. What a dynamic bat Cattell Marte is when he is healthy. I mean, take a look at what this lineup would look like with Cattell Marte. Tim Anderson, Marte in the 2 spot, Jose Abreu, Yasmani Grandal, I mean, Luis Robert. I mean, come on. This is Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada. Yeah, Yohan Moncada batting 7th. Are you kidding me? What a lineup this would be. He would really be an electric bat to add. But let's see what CBS is proposing when it comes to a trade. So taking a look here, they're saying here, if I were the White Sox, I'm putting Andrew Vaughn and 2021 first round pick Colson Montgomery on the table and not thinking twice. Figure out the last piece or 2 or 3 from there. Arizona isn't good enough to be picky. Get the most talent possible and sort it out later. You know what? I actually think the Diamondbacks could be a sneaky team this year. I'm just going to say that. But let's take a look at what this trade would look like. Well, as of right now, just these two. I mean, you have to remember, he said Vaughn and Colson Montgomery, who they just drafted, and then either 1, 2, or 3 more prospects. But Vaughn and Montgomery alone would get this deal done. You know, I actually kind of maybe I'm a little intrigued about a possible trade with Marte and Vaughn, because Vaughn right now, he just doesn't seem to have a for sure home with Jose Abreu at first. I mean, they have, you know, he could go play right. He also have the designated hitter spot too. But I think with Vaughn, it just doesn't seem like he has just like a full set spot as of right now. I would hope the White Sox would like to hang on to him personally, because I think that power is real, and they definitely could use some more pop in that lineup, more home run pop, and I think Vaughn can bring you that. But if you're getting a guy like Marte, where, man, you know, that would be really intriguing. And then you're also giving up, you know, Colson Montgomery, who can, you know, play third, short. I have to wait and see what he turns into. But Andrew Vaughn, this is intriguing to me. That is really intriguing. If you don't want to give up Montgomery, maybe you can give up 2 lower level prospects as well, maybe somewhere in the 3 to 4 million. And then, to me, this trade is actually not looking too bad on paper when you look at the values. I don't think you need to do Vaughn, Montgomery, and then, you know, 2 or 3 other prospects. You're just doing too much at that point. To me, Cattell Marte in a White Sox uniform, that would be incredibly fun. For this trade, I don't think you need to do this. I would be intrigued with maybe doing Vaughn and maybe 1 or 2 more prospects, but I wouldn't do those 2 necessarily. I don't think it's the worst trade, though. Up next, Frankie Montas and Matt Olson to the Yankees. This is where CBS, they're going to come up short here. We're going to take a look at this trade here in a second, but taking a look at what a possible trade package would look like. So they're saying here, they talked about how Oakland, they would really want to get guys in pre-arbitration. So you're probably not going to get someone like Gleyber Torres or Luke Voit, where you're having to pay, you know, $5 million or more for those 2 guys. But so they're suggesting here, Oswald Peraza, Luis Gil, and Austin Wells, and then see what else it would take to bridge the gap. Well, to bridge that gap for these 2 guys, it's going to cost you a lot more than these 3 guys. These 3 guys for Matt Olson, that works on paper. Peraza, Gil, and Wells for Olson, yeah, that's the trade right there. If you want Montez too, you got to remember Montez is one of the better starting pitchers in the game. He's young. He's very cheap. He's under control. Montez has a lot of value. So if you want those 2 guys, you're going to have to give up way more than this. But this for Matt Olson, I think is a good trade. Sticking with the A's for the next trade, Matt Chapman and Ramon Lauriano to the Phillies. There was a trade like this on the Jim Bowden video that I did last time. So we're going to have to wait and see what this trade looks like. But Ramon Lauriano, you have to remember, this is a guy that's going to have a pretty high value. Why? Because he is a good all-around center fielder. As you can see here with his numbers, I mean, the batting average was a little low. His on-base was a little low. He got suspended. So Ramon Lauriano, yes, he had his issues last year, but he is a pretty good all-around player. He's very good on defense as well. Matt Chapman, I mean, last year, the batting average and the on-base were low, but he still hit for some pop, 27 homers, 72 RBIs. You got to remember, he's coming off of a hip surgery, so maybe Matt Chapman, we can see that batting average and the on-base go up a little bit next year. But Ramon Lauriano, he's definitely going to have definitely a good amount value for him. So it's going to cost you a little bit to get him. And then with Chapman as well, he has a pretty good value as well. So it's going to take a lot to get those guys. So let's see what we are looking at here. So a possible trade package. It makes sense to put Bohm on the table, right? He could slot in as the Phillies universal DH once that becomes a thing, but you have to give something to get something. I agree. Wow, look at that. And surrendering a player who might be a long-term DH is an easy pill to swallow. Bohm has a pedigree and trade value. Bohm, his value kind of dropped last year. It's not as high as you might think, but he was a recent high draft pick, and he was the Rookie of the Year runner-up in 2020. They go on also to say, I'd want Vierling in any trade if I were the A's. And I'd ask about Ranger Suarez. The answer would probably be no. A package built around Bohm, Vierling, a near MLB-ready starting pitcher like Hans Kraus, and Bailey Falter, plus one or two lesser prospects might be enough to get the Phillies in the ballpark. Unfortunately, no, it's not. It is not nearly enough. I put all four guys, and you are around $50 million apart in value here. Like I said, Lauriano, even if you maybe decrease his value a little bit, maybe let's say 45, 50 million, you're still way off. Like you got to remember, Bohm had a down season last year. Yes, he was he's a top prospect. He was runner-up for Rookie of the Year, high draft pick. But Bohm didn't have a great season last year. Kraus, I actually do like Kraus as a possible, maybe a 3 or a 4 in a rotation down the road. And, Falter could be really good as well. I do like Vierling. I actually think Vierling is a pretty underrated player. Keep an eye on him next year. But as on paper, this trade is not good. This is not a good-looking trade. Even with a couple of lower-level prospects, like the article said, that's not going to get it done. So CBS, thumbs down. CBS, let's see if you can finish strong here. You've had back-to-back bad trades. Let's see if the last one is good. Herman Marquez to the Dodgers. That is rather interesting. Looking at the rotation, I think they're going to get Trevor Bauer back. I think it's just a matter of time before that, once all the labor negotiations and whatever, once all of that gets cleared out of the way, I think you're going to see Bauer in a Dodger uniform eventually. But as of right now, Walker Buehler, Julio Urias, and then if you were to get Herman Marquez, I would imagine he'd be your number 3. I mean, this is a really good arm to get. He has good value. Why? Because he's very good, first off. He's shown that he can pitch well in a hitter ballpark like Coors Field. He is affordable, and he's under control. So Herman Marquez, he's going to cost you something to get. If you want him in your rotation, it's going to cost you some coins. So taking a look at what a possible trade package would look like. If you're the Rockies, I think you have to get top catcher prospect Diego Cartaya, which I think you could include him. I understand they did just trade Kyber Ruiz, but you got Will Smith, under contract. He's not going to be a free agent for a while now, not until after 2025. So Diego Cartaya could definitely be a trade piece. So that's intriguing if you ask me. He says here, Cartaya plus slugging outfield prospect Andy Pages and an MLB-ready arm like Andre Jackson is a good place to start the conversation. Let's take a look at the trade. You're actually maybe offering a little too much here, but this is actually not too bad. I mean, you're about $8 million over what it would take to get Marquez. I think if you were to get someone like him, you're going to have to go over his value a little bit if you really want him. But Cartaya would be a nice piece to include here. And then maybe not Pages, maybe, instead of Pages, maybe 2 lesser guys. Something like the Dodgers, they got a lot of guys in that farm. So, but I think if you're parting with someone like Diego Cartaya, that's a more than good enough prospect to include in a package where you can build that package around him. And they also went on to, they said here, if you're the Rockies, you would like to get Diego Cartaya. Colorado has never had a truly great catcher in its history. Chris Iannetta is the franchise all-time leader with a 7.0 WAR. So that'd be very intriguing if they could go get someone like him. Maybe not Pages. Maybe you could take him off the table, and maybe you can include, 2 guys in the $7 to $8 million range, or maybe even a little lesser than that. I actually don't mind the way this trade looks. I actually kind of like it. If the Dodgers could get someone like Herman Marquez for the middle of that rotation and then bring in Trevor Bauer, get him back. I know, some people might not like that, but at the end of the day, Trevor Bauer is pretty good. So if you had that kind of a rotation, that's looking pretty good if you ask me. I'll give this one a thumbs up. I maybe wouldn't include Pages. Maybe I'll include 2 lesser guys, but Yeah, overall, I think you're on the right track with this one. So those are my thoughts on the CBS trade proposals. Tell me down below in the comments, what did you think of them? Did you like them? Did you not like them? Would you offer some different guys? What would you do? Tell me down below in the comments, but that's all I have for right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.